Today we will be looking at solving for an unknown angle using the sine law. Our question asks us to use the sine law to solve for angle A. So this is our angle A right here, and we're going to try to use the sine law to solve for this angle in degrees. Before we get started, let's first recall the equation that we use with the sine law. This equation tells us that the sine of angle A, here's our angle A, divided by lowercase a. The lowercase a just means the side opposite to that angle. So in this case, to find the opposite side to the angle, we go straight across from the angle, and what the side that we hit is our opposite side. So in this case, little a is 10 centimeters. This equals sine B, here's our angle B at 60 degrees, over little b. So to find our little b, we go directly opposite from angle B, so in this case it's 20 centimeters, equals sine C, well we don't have an angle for C, divided by little c, so we go straight opposite to angle C, and we don't have a little c in this case either. So recall, to use the sine law, we have to know one full ratio from this equation. So in our case, we see that we don't know angle A, so we can't use that one as our full ratio because that's what we're looking for. But we do know angle B, and we do know little b, the side directly opposite from the angle. We know that little b is 20 centimeters. So that means we know this whole ratio here that's been outlined in yellow. So that means we can use the sine law to solve this problem for angle A. Let's begin by first filling out what we do know of the sine law for this problem. So we start with sine of A, well we don't know our big A, that's what we're going to be looking for, divided by little a. Well, in our case we said that little a is 10, and this equals sine of B, the angle, which in our case is 60, over little b, which is the side opposite to the angle, and that's 20. Next, we know that we're looking for sine of A, so we're looking for this angle A here. So to solve for that, we need it on one side of our equation by itself. So since it's being divided by 10, we need to get rid of this 10 here. Because it's division, we need to do the opposite operation, and the opposite operation to division is multiplication. So what we'll have to do is multiply both sides by 10. Because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So what you see when we multiply this side, the left-hand side, by 10, and we divide it by 10, these things simply cancel out to be 1. So we can cancel them out. Next, let's rewrite what we have now. We have sine A, we still don't know our A, equals the sine of 60 multiplied by 10 divided that whole thing by 20. So our next step that we can do in this problem is use our calculator to find the sine of 60. So what you'll do here, it will depend on your calculator, but you'll either have to push in the key that says sine and then 60 and hit equals, or you might have to do 60 and push sine. That depends on your calculator. When we do this on the calculator, we get that sine of 60 is 0.8663. And we'll keep this to 4 decimal places for accuracy. We keep our times 10 divided by 20. So what we can do now is put this whole right-hand side into our calculator. 0.8663 times 10 divided by 20. We get sine of A equals 0.4332. So the next step is where some people tend to run into problems. Right now we have that the sine of A is 0.4332. This isn't telling us what angle A is yet. It's just telling us that the sine of that angle is this number. So to get the actual angle, we have to take the inverse sine of this, which will allow us to find the angle. So what we get is that A equals sine inverse, that's our sine inverse, of 0.4332. So when we put this into our calculator, we get that A is equal to 26 degrees. And when we have an angle, what we do is we round it to the nearest whole angle. So we keep this as A equals 26 degrees. And what we'll do for this question is put it in a red box to outline that this is our answer. Now that we've gone through one full example together, we can go through this next example by yourself. So what you should do is use the sine law to solve for angle G. So here's our angle G, and we're going to use the sine law to solve for this angle. So what you should do is hit pause, work through this yourself on a separate piece of paper, and then hit pause again, and it will continue and show you the answer, and you'll be able to check your work to see whether or not you got the answer correct. So hit pause now and work through it yourself. What you see when you work through this problem in a very similar way that we worked through this other problem together, that you get that angle G is 56 degrees. So thank you for listening to this clip for solving for an unknown angle using the sine law.